relaxing it. Come on, man. We still have a very good team. Have faith and support the guys. Never know what can happen. Respectfully, I don't think I haven't said anything not of that nature, but we can't. I'm not saying you're saying this, but you can't get into this trap of just saying positive, blind buzzwords. That sounds good. Me, I know damn well of the threat of Real Madrid. I know about what we can do positively. I know about the negatives. Go out there and have a go. My thing is just have a go. Just have a go, bro. That pretty girl, yeah. She might look like she's out of your league and stuff, but you don't know until you try. She might like your humor. She might think you're good looking. She might think she's tired of the other guy. Oh, have a chance, bro. Have a chance. You got to be in it to win it, man. And again, such as Arsenal, some would say it's our luck. We get past Real Madrid to effort against Aston Villa. But if we did come through these 2 legs, you can't help. You can't get excited. You have to keep your feet on the ground. But it's like, ooh. That's how I'd feel about Real Madrid. Like, we might just win the champs, We might just do this. It might happen. But that's what I want the conversations to be. But we have to go out there and do it, man. Let's stay on. You lot are making me feel it's a passion merchant thing tomorrow, man. There's nothing else. Get the beers going. Get the rear neff going. Let's just have a goal, man. Anyways, away from that, though, man. Keep your thoughts coming, of course. Bukayo Saka says he wants to win things at Arsenal ahead of talks with the club over a new contract. Saka has 2 years left on his current deal, but Arsenal want to secure his long-term future. Speaking ahead of Tuesday's Champions League showdown with Real Madrid at the Emirates, Saka was asked if he could reassure fans about his future. I want to win. I want to win things wearing this badge. It's pretty clear the fans know how much I love them. You saw when I came on Tuesday, they love me back. Careful with that, though. Love don't last forever. So it's a good relationship. I am really happy to hear. And I'm focused on winning. And being at the game against Fulham, it was pantomime. As I said, it's sad, but some man will score for this football club and they will not get allowed a roar or reaction from the fans as much as Saka's name when it was read out before the game, when he was warming up on the side, when he came on and then he scored. And then I saw him in like the mix zone after. And he's the president, man. Like he's there with his little posse, all his friends, babes and that. Black David Beckham settings. But tomorrow, Black Iron Robin. Just, brother, I'm not going to lie. Saka, brother, left foot, hit it. Even if you're about hit it. Lewis Kelly, movies. Hey, them boys, just movies. Thomas Partey, declaration. There's a movie for someone to live. Live a movie. I wish Gabriel Magalhaes was here, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's pretty, yeah. So, yeah, big up the love. I don't think anyone is really in a rush. I've got 2 years left on my contract, so it's pretty relaxed. It's relaxed for you because you're going to get the paper. And I believe you, Saka. You love the fans. We love you. You want to win stuff. I do hear other players say this. So let's not be too relaxed. Let's get me signed the deal. Berta, blank check. Him, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, deals, please. And God, please, no hamstring injuries. If give me this hamstring injuries, man. I don't use them. I'm just waffling on YouTube. We need Bukayo Saka, man. What a star boy, man. So I'm in a rush, Saka, man. I believe you. I know you're a God-fearing man, so don't lie to me. I believe you, but new deals are required. Everyone knows my thoughts, and I've let you guys know as well. So I don't think there's much else really. Big him up, man. And he said it just reassured everything. It was special. You had to be in the stadium to feel the noise and the energy they brought that night for me. I am really grateful. Like I said, I just want to win here, and that is my focus. I must admit, I've seen my team win trophies. I've obviously been out at Wembley. I've been privy to some big games at the Emirates. Actually, like the year we got back in the Champions League was quite good, but mainly not necessarily because of the fact that we beat Fulham and all of that kind of stuff, and definitely not for Magalhaes' injury. But in relation to the Saka stuff, one of my finest moments at the Emirates, like I'm so happy that I was actually there to see that. Like it was big up Saka. I'd say the darkest moment at the Emirates, the Granit Xhaka thing. I just remember looking around the stadium. I just thinking, what's happened to my beautiful club? We're a pantomime now. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but when something's going around you, yeah, like you're seeing fans, obviously, whatever Xhaka's doing, whatever the game's going on, the scoreline is whatever. When it's like, like in the movies where everything kind of freezes around everyone and it's like the main character. I felt a bit like that. I was just like, bro, we are falling off, I keep saying this. We became a pantomime. Like that was... We've been through a lot. The Ballon d'Or is a dream, but my focus is on winning titles at Arsenal. I'm just working hard to do the best for my team. Any individual awards that come, I'll accept them. Come on, Bukayo, man. On producing superstars. This is Arsenal. It's what we do. We've done it in the past. I hope we can continue to keep doing it so we can save some more money. Don't give the club any ideas, blood, please. On Wanyeri and obviously Lewis Skelly, I always make myself available to them. I'm so proud to see the steps that they are making. I mean, Saka is 23, 24. These men are 18, but it's almost like he's 70 years of age compared to them. Such is life. Arsenal lack of firepower will be exposed by Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinal. Hurt me. Arsenal have one last chance to win silverware this season as their Premier League ambitions slowly disappear down another sinkhole. Slowly, they're gone, bro. But the reason they have not enjoyed any domestic success is the same one which will stop them winning the champs. It's getting rather boring now, but the Gunners really need a high-class goal scorer, someone who will at least feature among the most prolific in the English top flight. There are 16 marksmen who have scored 10 or more Premier League goals this term. And I'm not going to read them out, but again, considering everything you said about Martinelli and Trossard and the injuries and all of that stuff, they both got 5-6 goals. Marino's been playing up front 2 minutes, and yeah, he was scoring goals before the injury thing was the issue, but he's got 5-6 goals. Kai Havertz was probably our second top goal scorer before his injury. Saka the same. Yeah, you can. I said it last season. You can talk about set pieces and sharing goals around, and we need to keep that. All of them guys, I said, if they stay or just that amount of bodies, they all need to chip in. But we know we needed a striker, and we knew we needed an upgrade on the left-hand side. So it's the same old issues, man. Their last 10 goals in all comps have been scored by 9 different players, but that includes the 7-1 home romp at PSV in the Champions League. And they won't find Real Madrid as generous when they breeze into London for the first leg of the quarterfinal showdown with Arteta's men. Real Madrid was shocked 2-1 at home to Valencia on Saturday and are 4 points behind bitter rivals Barcelona as La Liga draws to a close, but they are going too strong for the Gunners. They're going to be going too strong for the Gunners and can return to the Spanish capital with a first leg lead, especially as the home defense has been weakened by the loss of Gabriel Magalhaes, the defending champion, blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is, man. Like, we're gonna have to stand up to be counted, man. I don't want to go and harp on about stuff, but a former referee said Lewis Skelly's foul was outside the area. You're telling us it starts outside the area. One guy's pulling, they're both pulling each other. Harrison couldn't even believe it. I do think Arsenal fans are the men and women who cry wolf all the time. There's clearly one rule for my football club and others. I do think regardless of when refs have done us dirty, there's been other things that we could have done in the game. And I believe that's the talking. Am I saying it's right? The reality is we have to make control the controllables. I'm not saying it's right, but the refs, yes, they don't do this. We win 1-0. But there's also been times, half the time, where refs has done us dirty that we've needed to do more to get that result. And we have to. We have to have the Sunday League approach. Anyone that's played Sunday League, you're told to assume the refs are shit. I'm not saying it's right, but what do? Do we cry and hope for change and do the kumbaya thing? Or do we can control what we can control? I don't know, people, but yeah, man, it's making me mad even looking at that. Apparently, Arsenal are working on a dream scenario of securing Victor Gyokeres and Nico Williams in a blockbuster 200 million summer spending spree. I believe when I see it. The Gunners' number one priority is bringing in a top-level central midfielder, and they are confident of landing Real Sociedad star Martin Zubimendi for around 50 million. And it's the same names, Gyökeres, Nico Williams, Zubimendi. To be fair, those are 3 signings that improve immediately our starting 11, and we also need depth. Now, new sporting director Andrea Berta is doing the sums to see if they can also afford an elite centre forward and a game-changing winger. Berta knows he'll have to generate significant income by selling players in order to raise the cash to prize Gyökeres from Sporting and Williams from Bilbao. The Gunners Chiefs are determined to do all they can to give boss Mikel Arteta the superstar signings he needs to win the Premier League. We heard this last year. I will lose my top if we lose to Real Madrid and I start seeing the Athletic come out with articles about we need players with X factor and all of this, because everything that I hope we do in the summer, we should have done last summer, in which, all right, time's gone, make sure it happens, innit? You keep it moving. We know Jorginho and Partey are set to leave, so there's a lot of question marks in midfield. In fact, there's more questions than answers. I don't want to be reactionary, but being devil's advocate, if and when is Odegaard going to get back to his stuff? If Declan Rice stays in this 8, what does that mean? Should he play as a 6 or an 8? You know, Partey's gone and Jorginho's gone on paper. You bring in Zubimendi. Can he do the business? Do we have enough there? And I've spoken about the striker in it. Let's be honest. You could move on from some, but I believe Trossard, Martinelli, Kai, you lot can be squad players. We need 2 signings to upgrade that front 3. Saka is Saka. Wanyeri's come to the fore as well in the squad, doing his thing. We've got the bad boy right winger. Need a serious number 9. Need a serious left winger. And things can take care of itself. And there's a lot Mikel Arteta has to do on a coaching front as well, because you need to find ways. You need to find a plan B. You need to find a way of overcoming these low blocks, because that's what you've earned now, Arteta. Rightly or wrongly, We're known for a distinctive brand of football and how we play. You don't have to like it, and I clearly don't think it's entertaining, but we're known. Maybe it's cliche. All of these players that have played against Arsenal, all they do is waffle about how the structure is and how intense it is and all of those things. We've earned that right. And what I mean by that is now everyone's doing low blocks, rightly or wrongly. And if you win and beat us, that's your business. Moyes did it. Sean Dyche did it. Eddie Howe is not going to change the way he plays against us until we actually get over the line. Graham Potter did it. Then there's plenty. Amarin did it, and it got him some change. So we need to find ways of getting about that, and that isn't something we learned this year. We knew about that last year. Arsenal also need a second choice goalkeeper when on loan Neto returns to Bournemouth. A prolific striker is seen as a key target with a new winger, more of a luxury. I think we've got past the point of luxury, brother. I can't lie to you. It's not a luxury. A left winger is not a luxury. I understand you have to mix and blend and pivot. That's a necessity. A striker is a necessity. A left winger is a necessity. A centre mid is a necessity. I actually think we need a left back, but you could say that's a luxury. You need a necessity is a second choice goalie. A third choice goalie might be a necessity. I mean, a luxury. I actually think if you do all of this, I'm not against someone to compete with Martin Odegaard. I know Nwaneri can play there. Napan, he looks good, but he's young, and that could be seen as a luxury. These are not luxuries, bro. How can it be a luxury if we've needed to improve this in the last 2 years? We're talking about wingers and strikers in the summer. What are we talking about? Who wrote this article? Because I was with you until you said that. Where's your name? They're boying you. Dan King, I don't know about luxury, brother. I don't. I do hope Martinelli kicks in form because he did well against Fulham, little decent touches against Everton and whatnot. Maybe I'll rework what I'm saying, people. But the Emirates Chiefs would love both, which is great news to me. And you should be able to. I'm not saying you can get Nico Williams and Isaac or Nico Williams and Gyökeres, but you should be able to get someone, maybe a kind of Savio. Doku's not the best example, but Doku, Savio, kind of someone with a bit of potential that can help us. We can craft them. Of course, I want guys, game changers. But you telling me you can't find a little winger, little icy free winger that can do some tricks and can listen to what Arteta wants? I don't know. We really can't upgrade or find another alternative option to Trossard or Martinelli. Fair enough. I can't tell you names, but yeah. Their chances depend in part on whether Sporting and Bilbao hold out for release clauses of Gyökeres and Williams, believed to be 83.6 million, 49 million respectively. Now, where you look at Zubimendi, Garcia, Gyökeres, Williams, we're not the only ones going for these players. So you have to be able to, you need to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. And I don't want to put too much faith in Berta. It's hard not to. Your CV at Sporting. We need a bit of optimism because we're tired of the regime. But he's like, bro, you're going to have to pivot, bro. You're going to have to pivot, man. 129, 34 likes, dodgy behavior. Karma, big up yourself, man. Mod of the year contender. What about Eze Brinkham? Don't you see signing any of these players? Too many reports from in the nose with very little proof. The real signings happen when you don't expect it. We were linked non-stop with Gerhi, Madison, and nothing. Amen. This is why I always say, Foxy, and you're here. I'm more than happy to speak about these things. But until man are holding Arsenal shirts, doing all those kind of things, it doesn't really go far. And Madison zanged himself because I remember Madison linked with Spurs and obviously Newcastle. I'm sure you reckon Spurs you'd achieve your ambitions and whatnot, and there's probably the London factor as well. But I wonder if he reckons he went Newcastle, because you look at where Newcastle are at on the pitch and all the other aspects, let alone the ownership, and they've won a trophy. And look what's going on at Spurs. In fact, they have won a trophy because they didn't. You remember the dart that you won the dart celebration? I told you, Saka. Remember when Postecoglou walked in and I was seeing articles by all of these people about he's the new Arsene Wenger. They won the league in September. So you could say the move was backed up. But yeah, everybody wants these guys. You know, Nico Williams, everyone's linked. Being linked and obviously talking is another thing. Bearing in mind, we have also heard reports technically that Berta's held talks with the agents of both these players in Gyökeres and Williams. If negotiations prove difficult, Arsenal could choose to pursue cheaper strikers such as RB Leipzig, Sesko, or Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike in order to free up Williams. Alternatively, the club could go all in on a proven goal scorer, Alexander Isak, valued by Newcastle at more than 100 million. That old chestnut. And there's a lot of whispers, man. We're going to get Gyökeres. Saudi are looking at him. Nico Williams, a new contract. Bilbao want the release clause paid up front, which obviously has ramifications. That's where Berta's got to earn his money, because we hear Bilbao's president is a tough negotiator, as you should. You're meant to be a tough negotiator, and you should know him. I don't know if Atletico and Bilbao have done business, but football's a small world. All the man there work together, so it is what it is, man. I mean, I'm having Gyökeres, bro. Like, I understand the concerns, but I'm on this to sign a striker first, and whether it's I would love Isaac, but we're not going to get him. But Isaac, Gyökeres, Hugo Katike, Sesko, bring the striker in, and we consider the positives and the negatives later. We need a striker. I don't want it to be one where we sit on our hands. If Arsenal agreed to pay that sort of fee, they would pass on a wide man Williams, whose wage demands may be an issue. So as long as you pivot, But former Atletico Madrid chief Berta is thought to be a fan, or a big fan, better yet, of Gyokeres, and was reported to have met Williams' agent, Felix Tenta, just a few days after officially taking up his new role. Arsenal do have to keep an eye on profit and sustainability rules. They made losses of 52.1 million in 2022-23 and 17.7 million in 23-24, despite their highest ever revenue of 616.6 million, thanks to a Champions League return. The departure of Jorginho, Partey and Tini will free up money in the wage budget. Yet Arsenal also need to find generous buyers for the likes of Zinchenko and Trossard. Jesus and Tomiyasu would have been off, but long-term injuries scuppered them. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. We could do a lot worse. We could do a lot better. Arsenal are planning to sign 3 players for Mikel Arteta this summer, but no, they'll need to be creative, as they do not plan to spend hundreds of millions in the transfer market. Arteta, you drew yourself out and said, be excited. You said we're going to add quality and we're going to improve depth. I'm not here. I'm Berta, you, Cronkies, anyone that works with you lot, don't care who it is. If you do what needs to be done, you get praise. If you don't, question marks. And you're going to have to live or die by it. Like, I feel sorry for the club indirectly, but realistically, I only feel sorry for the players and the fans where it comes to not doing what we needed to do in January and the summer. I'm sure Arteta and the people involved, they're not idiots. Clearly, they tried to do something, but you didn't do anything. So if you don't do certain things in the summer, the sort of script that to follow, and you also know the same in Jan. Some of you have been here and breathed it at Arsenal. Some of you have learned from other clubs, other clubs. Some of you have seen it elsewhere. So is it incompetence or naivety or both? I don't know, people. Just make sure, whether it's the top level talent, whatever, man. You can't tell me that, bro. The players that based on how the last few windows have been, the players that we signed, they better be the next Ronaldinho and things, because we keep hearing there's no players on the market, unique opportunity. And I hear that. I don't want to sign players for no reason. But really, how much we're going to keep being peddled that out? A key reason for how we get better is to add some quality. I'm a big fan of our players, but who really could you see, like, who really does the business at the upper level? And even the players that pull their weight a lot more, they need support. And actually, Saka can't do it every week. This one can't do it every week. They're going to have off days. Because what if, Saka has an off day, Magalhaes has an off day, Raya's having a shaky one. Other men need to step up. I'm all for finding stars of tomorrow and future-proofing, but we also need to find that balance of getting players that are for this thing right now. They're helping us right now. Not how good they're going to be tomorrow, right now. A man said, DG asking for new players, asking to sign new players. That's a luxury. Big up Rashid, man. These are ready-made players. We are talking about, apart from Rice, we haven't bought a top talent for 6 years and 750 million spent. They can't run. There's no players to sign nonsense. These men signed Marino. He looks more useful up front than in midfield. I woke up this morning with new hope, only to go into my office and see a Madrid scarf on my desk. Mind games from your colleagues. Jonathan David on a free incoming deadline day. Nonsense, ladder. We need 3 centre forwards and we have 0. Also, Arteta wants Sesko. Now that's a ×2 sackable offence. City has Haaland, Marmoush. Man, you have Zertsky, Højlund. We need 2 strikers. 1 ready, Gyökeres. 1 potential, Sesko. Sell Jesus. Even Havertz. Then a creative 10. We're not getting Verts. Jesus ain't going nowhere with his ACL. Havertz is on 265 grand. And you probably need him to be part of the squad. If we could take the hit, I wouldn't be against it, man. But DG, big up DG. Forget Berta. Do you think these players we are linked with are Arteta kind of players? His history of signing says otherwise, but we never know. They're gonna have to find that balance. They're gonna have to. They're going to have to find that balance. Maybe Berta wants Gyökeres. This one wants Sesko. They're gonna have to find that balance. You lot just make sure you run me my players. That's what I want to see. That's all I want to see. We know he's inactive in the summer. We know about the injuries, etc. We know about Berta because he's been pictured at the games now and whatnot. He's been at Everton and Fulham. We all know about what he done at Atletico Madrid. Spanish football expert Guillem Balaguer has described Berta as a top negotiator. And claims he is planning to bring 3 key players to the Emirates this summer. You have to say that he was the architect of Atletico Madrid that won the league twice. Well, he did his job, so Simeone could do his job and anyone else around. Got to the Champions League final twice, won the Europa League, said on TNT Sports. That's him working, and he did butt heads with Simeone. I want to hear that as well. That's him working alongside Simeone in a very discreet way. He doesn't give interviews, doesn't give press conferences. I'm on that, man. He just, you know what it is with Berta? He just looks like them guys like Thomas Shelby and them make like Go St. Patrick and that. He's a man of few words, but you get on his wrong side. If he makes a phone call, you might be on a missing poster. And he looks like he means business. But again, I am excited about him. But I need to let you do your thing first. And I'm very wary about just relying on one man, because how much can you really change what's going on at the football club? And we all know about how we're trying to operate, man. And there's a lot of unanswered questions for a variety of reasons with a number of players on our books. And it's a big summer. And how much can be done in a matter of months, I don't know. But significant business needs to be done. I need to be feeling stronger about the squad. I need to be gassing about Saliba, Rice, Saka, this one, that one, and Nico Williams and Gyökeres are doing this and whatnot. Again, that wouldn't guarantee anything, but I personally can only speak for myself. If the club did what they needed to do in the summer and the season played out the same way, it's focusing people on injuries, I'd say fair enough. Obviously, we review how these injuries happen, but I would say, you put your best foot forward. You tried. We knew our squad was weak anyways. We was saying it in the summer. If you're not care enough, go back to the start of my videos in the summer. We was all saying, even with everyone fit, the squad's tiny, bro. Anyways, we don't know personally much about him, but certainly he's a top negotiator and considered one of the best in the business. So respectfully, Guillaume, if you don't know much about him, then we're just waffling and recycling the same things. They went for him because he wants to create, alongside Mikel Arteta, winning culture. This is a guy that has done very well in the context of Real Madrid and Barcelona, which is also encouraging. They have more money, and yet he managed to get that extra bit that Arsenal doesn't seem to get. So he's been described to me by one of the decision makers, one of the ones that decided to bring him in, that he's experienced, he's a hard worker, he's very brave. But basically, he's going to have to be creative as well. Arsenal are not here with the intention of spending 200 or 300 million. They just want to be creative with what they have got and what they can bring in. And again, we know Arteta said be very excited. Bellegay believes we'll launch moves for Zubamendi, Nico Williams, and one of Sesko or Gyökeres. Apparently, we've already held talks with Zubamendi and are confident of securing him. We've been linked with Williams and Gyökeres. It's the same old in that regard. Pardon me, with the restrictions of FFP, both in Europe, which is more restricted than the Premier League, they're going to have to think of 5 replacements for the players that are either leaving or finishing their contract. And they're going to have to create 3 or 4 players that go straight into the lineup. I would say a left winger, centre midfielder, and centre forward and holding midfielder. We heard the names Zubamendi, Gyökeres, perhaps certainly Benjamin Sesko or Williams. Those are the names they will try to get. But they don't have huge amounts of money they can use, so they're going to have to sell as well, in which that's probably a reason as to why Berta has been brought in as well, because it did look like we're moving in that direction last summer. Eddie Nketiah, Ramsdale, Smith Rowe will show you to that. And that's cool. I expect us to spend about 200 million, but that's cool. If you can't get these targets, just make sure you bring in good players. Of course, I want household names, but at the end of the day, I just want a winger that can score goals and take people on. I want a striker that can score goals, and I want to send them mid. I'm exaggerating, but if you can get a household name for 100 odd million, or you can get someone that we don't know for 10, that's cool. Just make sure they're good players, really and truly. Is what it is in that regards. Because whether we've gone for top targets or top players or not, we haven't always, in the last few years where we have to look at fine margins, we ain't spent money in the best possible way. Mikel Arteta said it's the biggest transfer window for a long while, and having Berta next to him as a partnership with him will definitely help. Keyword partnership, because that was used several times when Berta was announced. Discussing the club's transfer plans for the summer recently, Arteta said it's going to be a big one and we're very excited about it. When you are going to go again, we want to increase the depth of the squad and the quality and skills that we need to go to the next step. That's encouraging to me in theory, because you're telling me you see what I see. Every summer is big because it is an opportunity. Last summer, was it that big? Did you take the opportunity? Especially because of the number of players we have in the squad right now, that is necessary. But it's a big summer for many things, because first of all, we have to maintain the good foundations that we have, and then obviously how we can improve and evolve the team. I hope these words ring true. Sporting manager Ruig Boij, forgive me, poor pronunciation, hints at Victor Gyökeres' exit as striker, agrees Arsenal move. Portuguese giants do not expect to keep hold of their star striker. Sporting head coach has suggested Arsenal target Victor Gyökeres will be on the move in the near future. Amid reports, the striker's already agreed to join the Gunners this summer. He's been linked with a move to the Emirates Stadium last summer due to his stunning form in Portugal. He got 59 goals in 59 league games to date. Arsenal, as you know, are in need of a number 9. Gyökeres is said to be top of Andrea Berta's wish list. Reports in Portugal over the weekend claimed the striker had given the thumbs up to a potential summer switch. The 26-year-old was last week again on target as Sporting beat Real Ave in the Cup, scoring his 8th goal in 5 games, and Boris was almost at a loss for words to describe his player's talents. Gyökeres is a player, I think there are no words. It is unlikely that another player of his quality will emerge in our league over the next few years. He is clearly above average. Sporting recognized his talent, and here we are. Fortunately, we have him at Sporting. We must make the most of the time we have with him because he is exceptional. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. He brings a lot to the game, and his teammates are aware of what he contributes, which is why they're looking for him during games. I mean, I love to look for you during games as well. The collective effort also plays a role, as no one can succeed alone. Gyökeres is a game changer. He'll continue to be, whether with us or elsewhere. His quality is undeniable. It is phenomenal. He's the best in the league. There are no adjectives to describe Victor. He is an extraordinary striker, very important to our team. He has helped the team to grow with confidence, quality of play. He passes it on to his teammates. He's a focused player who pays attention to the details. Arteta would like that. He is competitive, never lets his guard down, and doesn't want to rest. Maybe today he could rest. It's a young team that he, as an athlete and player and teammate, instills confidence in his teammates with what he gives to the team. I also want to draw you lot to this because a lot of people are not convinced on Gyökeres, and you don't have to be convinced. I know football, social media, you're not allowed to change your mind. You're not allowed to have any concerns. You're allowed to do that here because there are concerns. Naturally, can you do it in the top division? I do think there's no balance with Gyökeres, man. Look at him like he's the best thing since sliced bread, or people think he's shit and they start doing the nerd thing, talking about stats and that. I think he'll be good here. While it's true that Gyökeres is a player who is performing above average, he's also a player who has physical problems. His age combined with these issues could cause some doubt at clubs. That was by a football agent, Guilherme Von Cooper. There's concerns everywhere. People always talk about the transitions. Arsenal need to move the ball quicker anyways. Arteta needs to evolve us in an attacking sense. There's a discount that has to be applied to us anyways. We all know you're not going to get as much penalties as you got. There's the low blocks, which it shouldn't be just on Gyökeres, it's the whole team. There's this assumption that Arteta is not going to evolve his tactics or change his tactics and tailor it, not just for our attackers, but also Gyökeres. And I mean, he's shown it in the Championship and in Portugal that he could do all right. I don't understand why, people are like, there's no counter-attacks and that. And also, if Kai Havertz has found a way to score goals for the last 2 years, if Mourinho has found a way to score goals, I don't think the return's great enough. But for all of Martinelli and Trossard's struggles, they've still found a way to score goals. Saka is bagging for fun. Wanyeri just come off a little hot shot. We really think a 26-year-old turning 27 that's had good and bad periods in his career can't do a thing? I don't know, people. I'm not saying there isn't concerns, but I'm not really sure why it's to this grave extent. But yeah, man, it is what it is in that regard. So we've gone over that. Big up Gyökeres. And again, in terms of the injuries, I think it's everything. I think Arteta's ran his players to the ground, but then also players haven't saved themselves. And I'm not going to read this, but you could see it with Gabriel Magalhaes when Gabriel Magalhaes was arguing with Mikel Arteta about not wanting to be resting. I do think Arteta's ran the players into the ground. I think the consequences of what we haven't done in the transfer market means we're over-reliant on these players, and the hamstring injuries reflects that. And then obviously injuries happen anyways. We've ran Ben White into the ground, Saka into the ground, to a degree, even Odegaard, Magalhaes with his hamstring. Timber's been great this season, but he's had to play a lot more than we'd have liked. We all know the guys that of this 19-man squad pick up injuries, and you can say the training methods, which personally I believe you've got to play the way you can train. And again, I think the club have to take responsibility, but clearly nobody's going to put players out there whether they to injure them, and they're obviously going to try their best to make sure man don't get injured. But at the same time, I remember when Mikel Arteta was speaking and he was saying, actually, we haven't been able to train that much because of the fixture calendar list, and that affects the muscles. So you're in a bit of a double whammy of resting players and then rest can also injure players, which for me, simply put, you need a bigger squad. You need a bigger squad. It's as simple as that. Because then the negative thing is the drop-off, essentially. And for Arteta maybe to learn, there's been times where the Gabriel Magalhaes, the Kai Havertz is like against Wolves. Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes when we're winning 7-1, can you take a man off for 5 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there? It might not seem like much, and this same thing could happen. But if you were to do like the little 10, 25, 2, whatever, When by then you will look at it at some point and say, technically, if you add up all the minutes a man's been subbed, it adds up to 90 minutes. That's a game being saved. We need to learn, man. And boy, yeah, I know Arteta is very proud of, we had all these injuries and we finished second. We're still second, and many teams would have crumbled. That's true. And I like that. That shows it. But what does that mean? We've established ourselves as, clearly not the best team in the league, because Liverpool are there and City have been it, but we're one of those. We're a class above a lot of other teams, so we should be there. What is stopping us from going to second, from second to first? That's all I'm interested in. And again, there's something wider to be said about injuries for footballers. You saw Musiala go down. There's been 119 hamstring injuries in the Premier League alone. That's an average of 4 injuries each round of fixtures. The player unions need to get together, but the higher powers that be don't care. Even Thomas Frank come out and say it. You've all seen the extended club championship. The World Cup's getting more teams. The Euros is getting more teams. The Champs has more teams. Nations League's in this thing now. It's just madness. And then, the pointless international friendlies. Again, from a domestic point of view, in a team like our case, you want to compete in 4 trophies. They don't care about players, and that goes for all clubs, man. They're just gonna tell you have a bigger squad, and they don't care, bro. They don't care. Yeah, Berta was at Everton, which is great for us. Again, Arteta said it's going to be a big transfer window for us. We are very excited. I hope so, my brother. Guillaume Balaguer said 5 big signings, so the language has changed from the article we read. Who would you lot take? POV. You are a sporting director of your club. You have to sign one of these 7 strikers. Who would you choose? You have Isaac. You have Foxy's not allowed to answer. He's a Newcastle fan. He's going to say Isaac. Or for him, you can't say Isaac. You have to say the next one. You've got Isaac Osimhen, Liam Delap, Benjamin Sesko, Victor Gyökeres, Hugo Ekitike, and Jonathan David. My first choice, which isn't going to happen, would be Isaac. And then I'm kind of torn. I'm in win now mode. Because I'm in win now mode, I'm going to say Gyökeres or Osimhen, because if you bring either one of those into not just our club anywhere, it's a right now thing. So I would say them two. I'm a big fan of Sesko. I think he's raw. I can see why people aren't convinced. In an ideal world, I'd love to have an Isaac and a Gyökeres, and Sesko is in the squad as your development striker. I'm having Sesko. Then it's a tie between Hugo Ekitike and Liam Delap. I like Liam Delap in a nice way. He's an ugly footballer. I think Hugo's a baller. All I know is Jonathan David would be last. I'm not going to lie. I'm not against Jonathan David on the free. But if Jonathan David was the only option, I'd rather just heavily invest in central midfield and left wing, if I'm honest with you. And it is what it is. I'll bring him in, but it is what it is. Gyökeres is open to a move to Arsenal. The Gunners are set to open talks with Sporting after identifying the Swede as a more attainable option than Isaac. He's understood to be impressed with Arsenal's project. He's also been again linked with Atletico Madrid and is still linked with clubs in Saudi. We have heard that apparently his reps will be in North London next week, which is now Monday. We all know the speculation has been growing. We all know we've heard Berta spoke to him, and he's actually still being linked with Newcastle. Some say as someone to be a companion for Isaac, some say as a replacement. Where Isaac's going, I don't know, but I don't think he's going anywhere. Again, we have heard Nico Williams, his agent, has spoken with Berta, but likewise, we're hearing Atletico Bilbao want to give him a new contract and scare off the teams interested. Aston Villa, Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea, Man United, Bayern Munich, everybody's been linked with him. I mean, a release clause of 58 million, you want to double that essentially, and we'll have to see. But you couldn't even rule out him staying. And, in an ideal world, they win Europa League, and it is what it is. Apparently, Sporting would take a huge economic risk by trying to keep Gyökeres this summer, according to a financial expert. So they're in a position they might have to sell. Is that why it's dropped, allegedly, from his asking price to where it is now? We all know the 26-year-old has no shortage of suitors, and interest has increased in him. They must sell him, apparently. Why must they sell him? Why must they sell him? It makes a difference in terms of longevity. Sorry, it's one thing to transfer Gyökeres in the summer when he turns 27, and another to transfer him the following summer when he turns 28. It makes a difference in terms of longevity. The market is increasingly competitive, and while it's true that Gyökeres is a player who is performing above average, he also is a player who has some physical problems. His increased age combined with these physical problems could cause some distrust in the club capable of putting so much money on the table. What are these physical problems? I genuinely want to know. I'm not saying they're not a thing, but what physical problems? I'm not saying there isn't none, but what? Because it sounds good, but what? What is it? Is it an underlying hamstring injury? Has he got a dodgy knee? What? What is it? Because it sounds good to say this, but like you're saying things and you're not backing it up. Gyökeres understands that the time to leave for a big European club is now, and Sporting understand that keeping him for another year would be fantastic in terms of Sporting performance, but would jeopardize a huge financial gain. And it's ironic because whatever you think about Gyökeres, you had a player that was in England Didn't make too much noise. Gone away. Going to be sold. Probably he could go elsewhere because he think the foreign club's going to come back to these very shores for like quadruple the price. Hugo Ekitike rumors won't go away. Allegedly, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United have all held talks with his reps last week as the race to secure a signature heats up. Now, on one hand, it doesn't surprise me. Everybody's talking to everyone. They don't mean you're going to sign people, but it's easy to add these rumors, obviously, because we need optimism. Allegedly, Morgan Rogers is generating big admirers, according to David Ornstein, and data suggests that Arsenal could be his ideal next step. I mean, you can see my videos on YouTube. I wanted him when he was at West Brom. He's having a great season. He's capped by the country. According to David Ornstein, Rodgers' form is not going unnoticed outside of Birmingham. Responding to a question about Aston Villa's summer plans in a Q&A, the journalist made an eye-catching revelation. I mean, easily, if you ain't got 100 million or something, you're not going to get it, Rodgers, whether he's worth it or not. This is the theme now. Good player, team don't want to sell, probably under contract for a number of years. If he hasn't, they're probably in talks to give him a new thing. You got to pay madness. And it's crazy because what happened to Jacob Ramsey? He used to be the guy. And outgoing wouldn't come as a huge surprise. There are clubs looking at Jacob Ramsey while Morgan Rogers is generating some big admirers. That is not to say these guys are leaving, and certainly the club will not want to lose their best players. But it'll be another big summer as Villa look to kick on again. Ornstein did not specify which clubs in particular are keeping tabs on Rogers, but data via Sky Sports can give us a good idea as to where his future could lie. Napoli, Atletico Madrid, Arsenal. Okay. At Arsenal's prospects of starting would be slim due to the presence of Odegaard. I mean, you and Rice in midfield with Odegaard, it could bang though. It could bang. It could bang. And we have been linked with a 16-year-old Harvey Higgins of Blackburn. He looks quite good based on the highlights and that Blackburn, man. He's an England youth international. Apparently, it will take about 1.5 million. Bring him in. If he can develop, great. We've been linked with another Villa player. Apparently, we're keeping a close eye on camera people of Aston Villa as we weigh up midfield reinforcements. Do we really buy that? Because he's also apparently in contract talks, and his contract expires in 2027, and Villa are keen to lock him down on improved terms. So it's not really coincidental. You would have seen over the weekend, Arsenal could see as many as 11 players leave the club to help boost their spending power. Zinchenko, Kivior, Partey, Jorginho, Tierney, Tavares, Lokonga, Nelson, Vieira, Trossard, Tomiyasu, Sterling, and Neto. Now, some of them are going to leave by default. The one commonality they all have, everyone's individual circumstances are different, but the one common theme is their future, their futures are not 100% decided. On paper, Neto, Sterling, Jorginho, Tierney, and Partey, they're all gone. Zini's got a year left on his deal. He's on 150 grand a week. I'm sure Berta, if we have to be creative, that's where you're looking. So we'll have to see what's going on there. And this is saying exactly the same thing, people, about young Harvey Higgins. We'll have to see how that works. Allegedly, we've watched Kamara. I went over this yesterday, people, but for you lot, again, I will. I don't know. I'm not endorsing or condemning these ITKs. I really don't want to read this. Smash the like button and do it for you lot, because it seems a bit movious. Nico Williams, as you are all aware, he has been Arteta's obsession for many moons now. Within the decision chambers at Arsenal, this player is viewed as having superstar potential. Let me cut to the chase, though. As reported, Andrea Berta has also held discussions with Felix Tanter, his agent. It's my understanding Berta has received encouragement when discussing a variety of wage/bonus combinations. Talks are still at a very early stage, but Nico is very open to joining Arsenal more than ever before. The second, and contrary to public opinion, is the more difficult part. The release clause in the region of 50.6 million. If you think Brighton's Tony Bloom or Napoli's De Laurentiis are tough negotiators, then let me introduce you to their final boss version, Jean Irate, the president of Athletic Club, in which you should be difficult. When Barca attempted to offer installments last summer, Deco received an emphatic no. This is where, in my opinion, Berta will earn his money. Paying 50.6 million upfront in the modern era is an eye-watering amount if you ask any football finance expert. Clubs will also try to spread costs, but Arsenal have serious firepower this summer. Can Berta engineer a successful Basque hype? That is the 50.6 million question. I hope you're right, but a bit cringy in the delivery, but okay. Anyways, Kivior was described as a player with gold dust, people, by Darmashef, and speculation over his future continues. Been linked with Bayer Leverkusen, been linked with several clubs in Italy and Spain: Villarreal, Sevilla, Juventus, AC, and Inter Milan, Fiorentina, Bologna, Atalanta, and Napoli. We're still being linked with Moise Kean, by the way. Arsenal are tracking 17-year-old Salford City striker Will Wright. The Englishman is among a number of young players the Gunners Academy recruitment staff are eyeing ahead of the summer. Always what stars are tomorrow. If you can bring something, fair play. Salford, ain't that Fergus? I'm sorry, isn't that Gary Neville's team? He'll probably get him over to Man United. And we're still being linked with Bilal El Kanous, who I got a lot of time for of Leicester. We reportedly got an interest in him.